Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the members of the City Council, as well as the City Manager, and also Sheila, for getting us on the agenda today. The topic that I'd like to talk about today is very near and dear to my heart, as well as Norina's. My name is George Rojas, and with me is Norina Sharp. Norina is one of the original charter members of the Newark Community Church since it started in 1980. She served on the board at her church, as well as being a lay leader of its support ministries. For 20 years of corporate experience, including leading global strategic initiatives and implementing change with a diverse worldwide team. She's the principal and founder of Sharp Vision, a consulting service to help build capacity for nonprofit and faith-based organizations, equipping and guiding them to achieve their stated mission from vision to planning and action. I am a member of the Inroads Church in Fremont, and have for the last 30 years been a personal trainer, group fitness exercise, and for the last 6 years have been teaching first aid, CPR, as well as being an instructor, a CERT instructor for the San Ramon Valley Fire Department's CERT program, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. I also represent a company called Nexus Preparedness Systems. We consult for corporations and individuals and organizations, and also supply them with disaster preparedness supplies, everything from Band-Aids to generators. So approximately 3 years ago, about 2 summers ago, we came together through the Compassion Network's volunteer events to get involved in preparing for this disaster initiative. And we helped prepare a panel of experts focusing on disaster preparedness, and the members that attended were Union City's current fire chief at the time, Chief Rodriguez, also a member of the Fremont Police Department, the Red Cross, and Tracy Ferreira, who is a pandemic expert and also leads the City of Mountain View's Community Disaster Network. So besides the Compassion Network volunteer audience, we've begun an awareness campaign with the city-served pastors and the leaders of Tri-Cities churches and their network events, and scheduling one-on-one meetings. So the purpose of our ministry is really to bring the churches together, to put together a network of volunteers as well as church liaisons that will help us to raise awareness throughout the Tri-Cities churches in order for them to become better prepared in the event of a disaster. Compassion Network is a part of the CityServe organization, which is a nonprofit that serves the Tri-Cities communities. Our vision is that in the time of disaster, those individuals who have come forth and expressed an interest to assist others in disaster, whether it is for counsel or for support, that together with the city agencies and non-governmental agencies that we will be involved in providing support following a disaster. Our mission over the last 3 years has been to establish this coordinated effort that combines the capabilities of the participating churches and the volunteers. So our efforts include an assessment of each church's current level of preparedness without designating any certain level, but giving them an idea of where they at and also making recommendations based on that to assist them in getting better prepared. We also strive to come up with a unified plan that we can share with the city government as well as the government organizations, the fire department being one of them, and also collaborating with other non-governmental organizations. Alco Voad is an organization that is definitely rising up and putting together different organizations such as the American Red Cross and different church and faith-based organizations. So our approach is engaging really at 3 levels, because we believe when we look at this that we should look at the individual level, at the church level, and then how we coordinate with the city organizations. On an individual level, we know that we need to raise awareness. We need to show them the need to become better prepared and some of the things that they need to be aware of, such as, do you have a plan? Do you have an out-of-state contact? Simple things like having a pair of tennis shoes in your car in case you're stuck, if you work in the city. Real simple things like that. At a church level, what we're looking for is we're looking to allow them to be sustainable. In other words, to be able to continue operations, to be able to continue to keep their doors open, to provide services, as well as to continue to do business. No different than any other business would have a need to be able to continue to operate on a day-to-day basis. And then, of course, the increasing their capability and their readiness to serve as a community resource in the event of a disaster. On a city serve level, and together with the pastors that make up the city serve organization, we really want them to come together with a unified plan. Again, something that we want in partnership with the city government to be able to share, so that the city has access to that information, the fire department has access to that information, and it's maintained in a single source, in a single repository. In addition to the 3 levels that we engage in, we know that there are 3 phases to disaster preparedness: before a disaster, during a disaster, and then following a disaster. So on each of the 3 different levels, there is a different type of response that needs to be undertaken. We know that we need to be aware and be prepared. During a disaster, of course, it's first checking on your family, then checking on your immediate neighbors, and then helping out. If you happen to be trained in CERT, then naturally you're going to check in at the nearest incident command post, and then serve your duties there. The recover, of course, for every person it will be somewhat different. On the church level, we definitely encourage them to have a plan. We want them to put together a team. No different than what would be a call tree if something happens during the day. Just an emergency, if there's a power failure, who is the person to call? Who's the person to call if it happens at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, 3 p.m., or 3 a.m. on a Monday? So different situations. And then, of course, we encourage them to be ready for ministry. Recovery and restore is the same. On a city serve and city partner level, again, it's having that integrated plan that helps us to achieve a state of readiness, and then also helps us move the process forward. We found that when we have people on board, either from the churches or from the city, things happen a little bit quicker. And so we also know that we're able better to respond, we're able to better mobilize and manage that response. And then the restoral process or recovery is, of course, learning from what we have experienced, and then also improve how we accomplish that same response. All right, so our guiding principles essentially is that we definitely seek to raise awareness on all 3 levels. We also want to foster self-sufficiency through events, whether they're at the individual churches or whether they're at events that are coordinated by several churches, just like the event which Norina and I met at, which was a sync event held at my church, in which various people did come forth and express an interest in getting involved. We also intend to communicate. We want to work in a collaborative method, collaboratively with the city agencies, other non-governmental organizations. So we really want to get the word out about what we're doing and enlist as many partners and liaisons as possible. Okay, and then the last one is that really coming to the city, we want to present one face and one entity, one unified plan. We don't intend to reinvent the wheel. We intend to use the existing network that CityServe has. CityServe has a representation of 70 churches and over 1,000 volunteers. And we intend to use that same existing network rather than try to go out there and find people ourselves. The members that make up the disaster initiative, in addition to myself and Norina, is Christine Beisch. She's the executive director of the Compassion Network and also the city liaison for the volunteer management program. So myself and Norina are available now to answer any questions. I believe I've kept it under 10 minutes. So we'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for giving us the time. Yes?
I didn't have a question, I was just going to make a comment. To get coordinated, and I see Chief Schaefer in the back with Tessa, because I think this is something that, when you're talking about the Tri-City Emergency Service Association, about how it's key, it's all the cities, and fire, and water, and all that, and these are key sites, so maybe something that needs to be put into the plan, talk to the hospitals, continuing emergency, coordinate with them in their project.
That will be something that we see probably further down the line.
Okay.
This is our first effort at this point, but we have reached out to the fire chiefs in each of the 3 cities.
Well, it's coordinated efforts of government entities. So I think having sites, having churches, knowing where hospitals can send people or where alternative plans can be would be critical to those sites if you have that set up in your system.
What would be the best way to achieve that?
I would say contact Chief Schaefer.
Sure. Okay,
Because I don't know who's heading that right now.
great. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Supervisor.